trust in Jesus, just to take him at his word, just to rest upon his promise, just to know thus saith the Lord.
Hello, my name is Joshua Clark, and I'm here with Sharon Madsen, the founder of the Madsen Method. And thank you for having me over. It's very nice to be here.
Appreciate it.
And so we're going to have a little bit of a conversation with Mrs. Madsen. I'm going to ask some questions, and some frequently asked questions. We'll get to know her a bit more and what distinguishes the Madsen Method from other things that are out there. So I'm going to step behind the camera, and we'll go ahead and get started. So, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today with the Madsen Method and this different way of learning. What path the Lord brought you?
That's a good way to say it, because the Lord certainly has brought me where I wouldn't know where else to go, but I think everyone can follow that path of following what's good, sensible, and pure, which is from the book of Titus. And the word sensible is in there more than good and pure. I noticed just an account, and that was how the Lord helped me to, my dad Wolf calls it honest to God honesty, where you don't have pet ideas or preconceived notions that you let stand in the way of learning truth. So my path was personal and in the classroom. Joy and I have a 14-year-old daughter at the time who could not spell or write or read well and had been in special reading. And here's her mom with 3 degrees and some experience in the classroom, and I can't teach my own daughter. And then in the classroom I can't teach my children. The problem there is that the curriculum pushes you to get work done, but not to produce children who are proficient.
Who actually understand and are able to teach someone else.
Yeah. So we got our work done, and I loved my children. I taught 7th and 8th grade, junior high school, wonderful children in the core, it's called the core area at the time, school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was my entry into teaching in the public sector. And here's how it panned out. The day after, as I looked ahead, I would know that the same children would have the same problems. And I did not know why some seemed to get it. I taught everyone the same way.
Right.
But I knew individualization only meant to give special attention to a child so they got their work done. It still did not mean teach them knowledge so they become owners of it. So I went looking for what was the problem. Before I went looking, I was going to quit teaching. And my dad, Wolf, said, "You may not." And my husband did not approve of it either, that I would quit. So I went looking, and God did show me. And he showed me via a homeschool mom came through my town and taught a class called, she advertised it as spelling, and I took it to keep my graduate credits and my certification up to date. I smiled the entire 30 hours in 1 week class. She fried my brain because she taught me in a manner that required me to use all 4 members of my learning team instead of just look and remember if I can and listen and remember if I can. So here I am having to say words which I hear, which produce what I write, so my eyes are educated about what they're looking at. And I did, though. I smiled the whole week. I said, this is the thing. My dad said, you keep looking and God will show you. It was 2 things, actually. It's the method of teaching and the content that lays the foundation for proficiency in English. In other words, everything we would do with English hangs their hats on this body of knowledge, and it was called phonogram knowledge. So I hadn't heard of any such creature
right.
in my previous life of schooling. So now I go home and I can teach my daughter,
So
which I did.
one of the things you mentioned was that you had some kids that could learn and others that couldn't learn. And what happens a lot today is they just label the children who can't learn as having some sort of a problem. But what you discovered was that there was no problem with the children. It's the method of instruction. It's a curriculum-caused problem.
I like those words. And there's proof of that. That of the majority, actually the work of Dr. Lennon and Barbara Bateman proves that if we tested a child the way we taught him, which is what we do,
Right.
we test a child the way we teach them. So if we teach a child in a way that requires them to have been born with a natural visual memory ability and or a natural auditory memory ability, and we test them that way, we still haven't proven what they could do if we taught them how they truly were born, which is with 4 God-designed learning avenues. We all have them.
Right.
Each person has that wonderful, I call it a team, a neurological team. You can envision those 4 little members up here just dangling their feet down saying, give me information so I can work. And they're designed to work together. And if we don't teach them to work together, we are forcing one or more of them to become the dominant learning facility within us. And if I'm not born with it, God help me.
Right.
But the system of phonics philosophy education insists, child, you better have been born with a natural visual memory ability, or you're already dead in the water. No paddle.
So could you define the difference between phonics and phonetics?
Yes. There's 2 differences that are major. The one is phonics requires the use of, it's called, instead of full spectrum neurological training, it's called fragmented spectrum neurological training. And I just described it requires the use of primarily a visual memory ability.
Right.
And to accommodate that, we have various philosophies, but they're fragmented. You know, you've heard of approaches to learning styles.
Right. My student is a kinesthetic learner or a visual learner.
Uh-huh. So the child dies the way he's born. He never becomes trained in his full capacity, optimal capacity. He just, they say, well, if he's auditory, teach him mostly auditorily. He dies the way he's born.
Right.
He's not a taught child. He is following the same philosophy. Just get them through, get the work done. And even the unschooling philosophy is a philosophy. It is a structure. Even non-structure is a structure. And the philosophies there, I don't want to go into that, but there are 8 major philosophies of training a child. And then there's 9 if you include teach the child fully, to use all 4 of his saying, hearing, doing, and seeing, the 4 members. You teach him that way.
In that order.
And in that order, with
Right.
speaking always leading the way.